Okay. Welcome to another episode of the Good in the Head podcast. I'm your host, Pete Jones, and I am good in the head. Today on the show, I have a good friend of mine from the other side of the world, Marwan. Salamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Welcome, Pete.
Hey, man. It's great to have you on the show. It's great to see you in person through virtual,
Yeah.
reality. And
Likewise, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And I really appreciate all the good work you're doing in the world and sharing the knowledge, basically.
hey,
Uh, I'm a great admirer of your work and I follow you on everything, basically. I'm a big fan. I admit it. And uh, you're you're putting out there a lot of work that creates a lot of value. I personally take a lot of value from your work, and I really thank you for that. And thanks again for having me on the show.
it's very generous. I appreciate it, man. And I feel the same about you. I first met you in a Facebook group called the Impact Theory League, which is
Hmm.
where it's kind of my go-to if I really want some honest answers that my ego doesn't want to hear.
Yeah.
Nobody in there is afraid of checking you on your stuff and correcting you in any way possible.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that about that group. It's been
Yeah.
a very empowering place to meet some incredible people and to sort of up level and upgrade all the skills and attributes, characteristics, and learn so much.
Yeah.
So anybody out
Uh,
there listening, I hope you check out the Impact Theory League. It's awesome.
I agree. Yeah, it's one of my go-to places. Basically, I go around a lot. Basically, I have all lots of places. I follow great many of writers, authors, thought leaders, business leaders, and whenever there's like a group that offers value and some insight, I tried as much to soak in the culture, soak in the knowledge, and um I agree. The Impact Series League is just one of the top ones out there. The community itself is very active, very strong. It's not as much in most groups, but yes, this one is definitely one of my top go-tos, as well as the Wim Hof group as well.
Oh,
Wim Hof, yeah, he's amazing, and his community, they're just it's all cold water, all ice, all the time. So every morning when I go into that cold shower, I'm thinking, yeah, these guys are awesome, and I take my inspiration from these pictures. Everyone just posts pictures, and it's really inspiring. So
uh,
yeah,
interesting. After we end the call, if you don't mind sending me the link to that group, that's something I'm definitely interested in. How long have you been doing the
absolutely.
cold showers?
Oh man, it's been like on off basically since 2015,
Oh, wow.
since I first learned about that from one of the Tim Ferriss podcasts.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, and I have his books. It's over there on one of these shelves, and but I haven't read them yet. But yeah, it's the cold showers and the breathing techniques. The breathing technique is really hard, man. I tried that, but it's not for everyone, and it takes really some getting used to. But the cold showers, yeah, I've I think that I've been a proponent of that even before Wim Hof. Like maybe it's my how I was brought up. Basically, it's like thing about being manly, just to withstand the cold, get under that cold water, and just take that shock.
That's
So
wild.
yeah, but to just do it on purpose for health reasons and for uh, all that stuff, that hasn't been brought to my knowledge until I just started to learn about Wim Hof and what he was able to do, and that whole other thing. And yeah, it's really good. Cold showers, they're awesome, man, but they're really they really hurt if you're just new to it. If you're just used to warm showers, hot showers all the time. Getting that cold water is it's no joke.
It's a jolt. A
Yeah.
couple summers ago, I went up to Alaska to visit my sister and her husband and their two
Hmm.
kids.
Yeah.
And I tried a cold shower up there, and I couldn't do it. It was too cold. That was some
Yeah.
serious cold water. It's being pumped from hundreds of feet below their house and then up into the
Yeah.
shower. And whoo, doggy, the
Yeah.
Arizona cold water is a little different. For
You
sure.
know what? This time of year here, it's a little bit on the cold side. It's still like you can call it winter, but it's not winter here at all. It's just really moderate, really cool, good weather. Uh, and I took my son to the beach like a month or so ago, and we went to this resort on the beach, and there was like really cool sand and the water and so on. But I was just not really into just getting my feet into sand and stuff. I was just not in that mood that day. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna jump into the pool. So I went into the pool, and it was so cold.
And
It-
energizing, I'm sure.
Oh my God. I was
Wake
just
you up.
went in there. Yeah, I was immediately awake.
Oh, let's tell the listeners and the viewers where you're at in the world right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, I'm in the Middle East, in the UAE, United Arab Emirates. And basically, I'm in the vicinity of Dubai. Everyone knows Dubai. So that's where I'm at right now, basically.
That's incredible. That's another one on the bucket list for sure.
Oh yeah, you must go there one day. It's a wild trip.
So your time right now, it's what, 8:12 a.m.?
Precisely. Yes.
All right. And my
We
time
have
is
11 hour.
9:12 p.m. Yeah. So we're quite a difference away, but the connection's
Yep.
great. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, me too.
The way that
We're basic.
oh,
We're on
sorry,
the
go
other
ahead.
side of the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's almost 12 hours difference.
That
Like
is,
I'm calling you from the future because.
I like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Give me some winning lottery tickets numbers,
Oh yeah.
Well, the way that I got prepared for this interview, because literally my bedtime is right around 7:30, 8 p.m. every night, because we wake up at 3:30 every morning for work, and
uh,
mostly on the weekends as well. So this
yeah.
is really way past my bedtime. And I knew that, hey, I wanted to be alert and energetic
Yeah.
and my best self, for this interview. So I did the Wim Hof breathing guided video that I've been doing all year.
Oh
And
yeah.
oh man, it's so empowering and it's energizing. And I feel like I just had a nap after doing it. So I'm excited
Yeah.
about that. Good
Actually,
practice.
that's very nice. I have like my own uh, bedtime as well. I have like a fixed schedule as well,
Mhm.
but my time is basically 11 a.m. 11 p.m. Sorry,
Mm.
every night. I just go to bed 11 and I wake up around 6, 7 o'clock. So I get like around 8.5 hours of sleep every night. I try my best to. If I'm having some rough time and lots of going on upstairs, so maybe I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just start my day earlier than usual,
You
usually
do
around
a
4
lot.
a.m. or something. Yeah.
You do a lot of writing. Do you do that late at night or when you wake up?
Always in the morning.
Mm.
Always in the morning. It's
That's
like
part of your routine, huh?
yeah, and basically I try to do it when my head is as clear as possible. Uh, and this is why I try always to free up my morning. My morning is always free. It's reserved time for my writing and for my reading as well. It's just a time when everyone is asleep at home here, and I have basically silence, I have quiet, I have concentration, and I can basically do all the work with a clear head. Later at night, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, everything is like piling up on your head. It's the best thing to do is just take a hot shower, relax, and just read some fiction and go to bed. That's it. That's my go-to. Yeah.
So you strategically design your day for optimal performance at all times. That's one thing I've noticed about you that I really like.
Yeah.
Where did that start, and what led you into this whole personal development world, that you're a part of now?
Well, basically, it's a life of disappointment, man. It's nothing short of that. It just I woke up one day. I think it was around 2015. That's basically when everything happened to me, and my life is in pieces. It wasn't working. Nothing was working. Like family wise, work wise, my finances were in shambles. It was all not working out. My health was really, really bad. It wasn't really working for me. And there was this, strange enough, I was watching this TV show. And on this show, one of the actors, he was speaking about reading this book by Robert Greene, The 48 Laws of Power. And I haven't touched the book in so long. By that time, I thought, you know what? I would really like to check that out. Seems like a cool book. It has this flashy sound to it. To the title says Power, 48 Laws, So yeah, let's check that out. And basically what I did first is just search online and downloaded a pirated PDF copy of the book. I have the full version right there right now.
Oh, so you did buy it. Okay.
Oh yeah, I made a point of buying it because basically it's an act of gratitude to the author. Basically,
Yeah,
this is how I see it.
That's a book I
Because,
also own.
yeah, it's like it opened my mind to a whole lot of things. It's like it's a different mode of thinking, basically. It's a difference between being in the darkness and just simply someone turns on the light. Now you see, this is knowledge, basically. Basically, I found and reignited and rekindled my love for reading by then. I just opened the book. I think I've read the whole thing, start to finish, maybe in 3-4 days, something like that. And right afterwards, I just went online and just tried to devour everything about Robert Greene. So that led me to the Chase Jarvis interview. And that led me to Ryan Holiday. And then I went on from there to Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss led me to everyone else, basically.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's been a journey ever since. I've read lots of books about that, and I haven't started writing until like the past 3 years now. I was just soaking in the knowledge, just trying to get as much knowledge, just as much information as I can. And it's just, it's the same with everything else. Like, you will not be able to create until you reach like critical mass, right? The point when like everything just tips over to the other side and you turn from a consumer into a creator, basically. So it's just like you have all these thoughts going in and you think about it, and then you start having thoughts of your own. You start to think about it and make the connections. Like our brains are just pattern seeking, and like we try to make order from chaos, basically. So this is why I went into writing. I'm just trying to think clearly, basically, to be quite honest. All this, all of this journey I'm on right now is just my attempt, my quest to think clearly, to get a better, to be a better decision maker, to be a better thinker, to be able to just have all the best thoughts I can and make the best decisions that I can, being as informed and knowledgeable as I possibly can. And this is never ending. It will never end. This is just being on a path, basically. And doing so, the part where I think that I'm adding value is I'm just sharing the knowledge, man. What I'm learned, I'm just trying to tell people. I'm trying to share that knowledge with my friends, my family, my followers, and I'm trying to basically provide the information to someone who was in my position prior to 2015. Like I'm trying to help myself in the past, the person that I was, and I'm just trying to deliver the knowledge that I was looking for. You know that they say that the best book that you can write is the book that you were looking for. Like if you try to write something, it's the one thing that you were trying to find, like through all your knowledge seeking, through all your reading, and you couldn't find it. So you just create the knowledge yourself and just put it in a book, something like that. But the thing that I personally figured out is that you actually have to take the journey. You have to go on that quest yourself.
Yeah, you got to do the work. Nobody's going to do your push-ups for you, right?
No one. And even reading the book doesn't help. You have to actually read the book and just do the work, basically, like you said. And it's just not one book. It's not like the Lord of the Rings. It's not one book to rule them all. That's never going to happen because of two things. Number one is that you must read the information from multiple sources. All right. Every book you read, even on the same topic, on the same subject, they put it in different words. They attack the subject from different directions. And this basically will solidify and will just chisel the information into your head a lot stronger and a lot deeper. And also, like when you're getting this information constantly, like you're immersing yourself into this knowledge, and you're doing the work, and you're getting more knowledge and doing the work. Basically, this becomes a practice, basically a daily practice. This becomes your character, your personality. This is the thing that you do. It turns you into someone else.
It becomes who you are.
Precisely, because in order to get the things that you want to get, you have to become the kind of person who would get them, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is how it works. And it's not just one book. It's not just one podcast. It's not just one gym membership. It's not that. It's not just one healthy meal. It's just a practice. And it's the same thing that you should do for every aspect of your life, basically. You find that that rhythm that you have to create into your life. And it doesn't have to be about routines as well. You know, it's not all about creating like a constant routine, but you fall into that naturally. If you just do the right work, if you just think about your life in the right framework, then basically you kind of find yourself like slipping into a routine, even if you don't think about it. You just every one of us will try. Yeah, precisely, because you're trying to optimize, always trying to optimize for the things that you want to do. So you figure out that I want to read something. I want to just study something. Like some people are just trying to get a degree. Some people are trying to study, like they go to night school. Some people have online courses. People try to better their life in multiple ways. All right. So you optimize for your target, you optimize for your goal. And this way you find yourself slipping into a routine. Some people like get off work, finish everything, and they just start, just hit the books, start studying. They start reading, they start listening to their information, they start to work on their life, the life that they want, not the life that they have.
Yeah.
And you create your own routine. And it's not like some people are morning people like myself, some people are like night owls. And it doesn't matter how you work out your life as long as it works for you. So this is basically my take on that.
I love that. Joe Rogan talks about the need that we all have. Some of us really haven't awoken up to the fact yet, but he says we all need a passion project, something that at the end of a long day of work, in a place that we may not even be, that just sucked our energy out all day long, we go home and we start into our passion project, whatever that might be for us as individuals,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
reignites that flame inside it and lights us up and empowers us, and it sounds
Yeah,
like you found yours.
yeah, it's like I'm a flow junkie, man. You
Hell
know,
yeah.
that's, yeah,
The
that
Rise of
state of flow.
Superman. Have you read that book?
Not yet, not yet.
Stephen
It's still,
Kotler. It's all about flow. That is one of the best books I've ever come across. I love
yeah,
The Rise of Superman.
I have it on my Kindle and still on my to read list. But yeah, it's like that feeling when you just in the zone, and like thoughts are pouring out of your head and through slipping through your fingers. That's it. Like when I hit that page and I try to write, just like I fill in pages and pages and pages with, like, before I can stop. And sometimes it's just uh, uh, it happens on its own. Sometimes I have to force myself to stop because I'm too tired. That's it.
Mhm.
And uh, it's not easy.
It's not
Writing is
supposed to
not
be.
easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. Like the one thing I really, really liked on the Tim Ferriss podcast recently, his uh, his episode with Jerry Seinfeld.
Hmm.
Jerry Seinfeld, that's a great show. That's a great episode. You must listen to it if you haven't already. And basically, Jerry Seinfeld said that writing is the most difficult thing creatively that you can ever do, and you just have to just give it it's a lot of time. Like you have to just give it 1 hour. That's it. 1 hour a day, no more. And at the end of that hour, just stop. You just stop and reward yourself for doing that work for just 1 hour, and just rest. Like have a coffee, like do something that's enjoyable to you and something like that. But it's just like start on a specific time, give it its period of time that you can do it for, and then just stop.
Just make it
It's
a
like,
habit.
yeah, and also it's just it stops you from fatigue. Like when you write on a constant basis, like when it's your job to write. This is
Mm.
why it's like it's different for professional writers, like people working in the ads and copywriting industries and so on. They're just like they're burning out 24/7 because they have to create thoughts purposely 24/7 as a job. When something
Yeah.
is a job and not something that you're doing on your own terms, it's different.
It's interesting. I've thought about that at work quite a few times. I work
Yeah,
with my hands,
yeah,
and my wife and I both work in the same area at Boeing,
yeah.
and we build these electrical harnesses from
Hmm.
one wire. We run it, and pretty soon you got hundreds or thousands of wires, and you've got to do
Hmm.
things at both ends and in the middle, and it's pretty complicated work. But
Hmm.
after the repetition, the practice, then it comes so easily and naturally that pretty
Yes.
soon all of a sudden I'm listening to 10 hours of podcasts and books every day for the last
Yeah.
4 years. And
Yeah.
just like you, I'm a voracious reader, but I love the
Yeah.
audio version because I can work and do this at the same time. And the thought
Yeah.
always comes to me, if I were to write like I do every morning, all day long,
Hmm.
every day, I don't think I would love it as much anymore. And going to
Yes.
work gives me an opportunity to practice the things that I'm learning and writing about and kind
It's
of take a
all,
break.
yes. The break is a must, actually. Like, you know what? Uh, the worst thing that you can have in your life is too much time, too much free time. That's a curse. And trust me, I've been there. I've been like jobless and out of work, unemployed for long stretches of time.
Me too.
And it breaks your spirits, man. Like, uh, I'm not sure where I've heard this or read it recently. I think it's um, uh, basically it says that your creative aspect, the creative thing that you're doing in your life, the work that you do, your passion, it's not your work is does not support your passion. It's actually the other way around.
I
Because
actually, yeah, I vibe with that. Interesting.
yeah, it's like because your life, you're doing the work to survive. Like you're doing the job, you're getting paid for your time, which is not the optimum thing to do, but that's what we have to. What this is what we have right now, and you must do that every day, like through all the grunt work, through all the politics, through all the nerve-wracking events that just sometimes it can break your spirit, and you feel like you're overwhelmed with life sometimes, like on a professional level, on a personal level, on a family level, like events just keep piling up on you. And the only way to be able to do that is just like what you said, the thing that Joe Rogan spoke about. Like, yeah, you must have your own thing, that your own creative project, your own passion, your own work that you do to just keep you sane. And if you grow that, if you work on it and it reaches its critical mass, again, the same word, it just, it can be its own thing. Like you have to just nurture it and grow it until maybe it's just on the same level as whatever is supporting you. And then maybe, just maybe, one day you'll be able to just depend on it and it supports you. But that's, to be quite honest, that's not in the cards for all of us. The like,
Yeah, that's okay.
yeah, and that's okay. And that's okay. As long as you do something that keeps you alive, that keeps your head working, basically, keeps your
Re-energizing
spirit,
you.
keeping your spirit alive.
Yes.
Because if you succumb to the materialistic side of life, then it crushes your spirit, and then you're no good for yourself or anybody else that depends on you. And it's a responsibility towards yourself and towards your family and towards the world, basically, because you, I, and everyone else we know, we're just unique. We're individuals. We're priceless. Like human life is really valuable, and the worst thing you can do is waste your life. The worst thing you can do is waste your life. And I try my best to help people not to waste their lives, because I've wasted mine. I've wasted a huge part of my life, and I'm trying to catch up on that,
Me too.
and trying to help people to do the same. Like
Mm.
you know what they say, the best thing to start something is 10 years ago. The next best time is right now, you know?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's
The thing that I like about what you're doing with your life right now and having these efforts to be a source of empowerment for others is it, first of all, it tells me about your character, that you're a good man, you got a good heart with good intentions. And those things matter, especially when you're raising a kid, you know,
yeah,
but you're providing a roadmap for people who may be seeking that roadmap and explaining the things that you've gone through and learned because of it may actually provide for them a guide to then bypass those issues and then find different ones. And I
yeah,
think that life is filled with issues. You know, the universe, they say, was designed and created to conspire on our behalf. Everything that is happening, quote unquote, to us is actually
hmm,
happening for us. And the universe, I think, was designed to conspire on our behalf. Because I mean, you and I are old enough now, we can look back and see how it all unfolded so incredibly that it's almost
Yeah.
like magic. It all happened so that we could be here together at this one moment in time, here and now, and
Yeah.
be doing this work that we love so much. And it's not
Yeah.
just for others. I mean, I do a lot of this selfishly out of habitual practices because I know that it lights me up and it energizes me, and it helps me and empowers me to create a more beautiful lifestyle, better
Yeah.
relationships, a higher income to enjoy more
Yeah.
with.
Yes.
And your son's
Absolutely.
watching you. You know, what's he seeing right now as compared to before 2015?
Well, it's a whole lot. Like one of the best things that relate to what you were just saying that I've learned through Tim Ferriss, no less. He speaks about this and he says this a lot actually. When you're on a plane and there's an emergency, they tell you to put on your oxygen mask first. You must help yourself first before you're able to help other people. All right. So, regarding what you just said about my son and he's watching me, and yeah, I'm well aware of that. Like one of the first thing that one of my first personal accomplishments was just quitting smoking, and that was on November 17th, 2015. I remember the date, November 17th, and that's because I was my son was just like uh, he's just like a small boy. He's just like walking around, just following me everywhere. And I used to smoke back then, but I knew very well that I didn't want him to grow up to be a smoker. So I used to hide. Like I took my pack, my cigarettes, took my lighter, and just hide somewhere in the house. Like go out in the balcony or just go downstairs, get out of the apartment altogether. Actually, just open the door and just smoke in the stairwell. Like I'm literally hiding from him. Like I don't want him to see me smoking and imitate me. I don't want to have this vision that it's okay. And this just I knew it was wrong and I knew I was doing something wrong, but that's the thing with addictions, you know, any kind of addiction. It's not that you don't know that you're doing something wrong. You do know that. And that's the bitter part of it, that you know that you're harming yourself. You know that whatever you're doing is ephemeral. It's just not going to last, and you're just surviving from one hit to the other hit, even if it's just nicotine, you know. And if it's also with carbs, like with sugar, that's like the most powerful drug ever. There, it's like the biggest evil actually. And when you're when you're addicted to something and you know what you're doing is wrong and you're doing it all the same, but there's part of you that doesn't want your son, like you don't want him to do that. You don't want him to harm himself like that, because you're a father, you know.
Yeah.
You want your son to be the best part of you. Like you don't want him to go through all the mistakes you've done. You don't want him to repeat all your errors and mishaps, and you just want him to be the best version of you. So um, I tried to do that. So one night I was just out in the balcony. I was just smoking. I was hiding from him. He's supposed to be in bed. He just we put him in bed. We tucked him in and so on. And I was just out in the balcony, just trying to relax, trying to just think about my life. And it was just really stressful. I was just out of the job, and it's been like all my savings are gone, and I was just basically destitute about that time. And I was just standing in the balcony. I was just smoking, and he opened the door and looked at me, and he said, "Daddy, what are you doing?" Basically. So I just flicked it away, and I said, "Nothing. That's it." And I went inside, and that was literally the last time I touched a cigarette, because
Wow, cold turkey just like that.
yeah, it's like but it's not exactly like that. Like, because it was just the accumulation of too many steps, too many attempts to quit. Like, this is one of the other things I've learned in my life. It's like, it's not just the one time. Sometimes it takes a lot of time to do something properly and just be done with it. Like, when I first tried to quit smoking, the first time I was just one day, okay, and that's it. I couldn't stop. Right there, the next day I was just back smoking again. Back when I was in my prime smoking days, I couldn't just open my eyes to get my first cup of coffee until I had my third cigarette.
Mhm.
So it was just like really, really tough time for me. I used to just burn through like 4 packs a day, you know. And uh, first time it was one day. Like, when I got up the courage to try to quit again, it was just 3 weeks. Months later, it took me 3 months. Okay. And then I quit for a year and just got back again. And then it was 3 years quitting. And then I got back again, smoking again. So it's just, you work up the courage one time and you just slip. Okay. So you have to work up the courage again. And next time it's going to be better. You're going to be better at it, even if you slip.
Along the way, are you able to accept yourself and stay away from the guilt and the shame that comes from knowing you're doing something that you promised yourself you wouldn't?
Yes. But something else as well. You don't give up on yourself. You don't give up. You never give up.
Some people do.
Yes. And it's easy.
Yeah.
Giving up is easy, but it's the worst thing that you can do. Like, people, uh, I'm an obese person. Like, I haven't been like healthy for very long stretches of time in my life. But from that one experience, from quitting smoking, I know the past. That's it. That's one lesson that I learned, that I I keep in my head at all times. All through this time, I try to teach and tell other people, like, you never give up. Some people tell you, you know what, it doesn't work, man. I like that cookie. I like that cheesecake, and I'm going to eat it, and that's it. That's me. No, that's not you. You've given up. And giving up is the worst thing that you can do. Yes, admit yourself that you've slipped up. Admit yourself that you're going to work on it. You're going to just start on the path again. And the next time, it's going to be better, until one day you found that, yeah, you're there.
So remain
You're
hopeful,
there.
remain
Yes.
relentless, and know your value and your worth, and that you're worth anything that you need to give up. Something that
Precisely.
you also pointed out that I love is it reminded me of a great tool that people can use. Sometimes we are hopeless and we're devoid of those feelings of self-worth and value. And
Mhm.
it's really useful at those times, I've found anyway, that we find a higher purpose than ourselves. And for me,
Mhm.
that was my children. That was my 3 sons. And
Yeah.
without that purpose in my life, I wouldn't be here right now. I guarantee it. But because I didn't want to leave behind a legacy of something like suicide,
Yeah.
I had to keep going. I had to keep trying, even though at that time in my life, I was hopeless and I didn't want to keep suffering and I just didn't know how to make it stop.
Yeah.
So,
That's I've been in that place before. Like, I've had my dark moments as well, man, and I've had my own thoughts and my own attempts with suicide as well. But I completely understand what you say when you said, you just sometimes at some point of your life, you just want it all to stop, and it's overwhelming. Like life gets to be overwhelming, and you don't have a place to go. There's nowhere to look. It's all dark all around.
And that, in my opinion, is why being part of a family or a friendship or a relationship, a community, having children, something that can create for us in that moment a higher purpose to keep living for, to keep hoping for, keep working
Yes,
for, remaining relentless towards. That's
it,
such an empowering tool.
it is. My friend Nikki, the one I wrote about in my last article,
I love that
she,
article.
yeah, she taught me something really cool. Like I've never heard that before. Each one teach one. Like this is
What,
like
what was
each
that?
one
Each one?
teach one. Like you need to teach one. You need to teach another person. Like one of the most one of the highest purposes of in life is to teach another person something that you learned. And having a kid, man, that's like the top level right there. Like parenthood, having a son, having a daughter, having offspring of, like, it gives you like a different perspective. Like it opens your eyes on a different level of being, a different mode of being. Like
Mm.
there's this person who just, they don't know, and you know, and you're trying to teach them, and sometimes they listen to you, sometimes they don't.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't
And
want to.
yeah, and that's okay.
That's okay.
Like, and because, to be quite honest, they won't be able to understand the reasoning behind everything you say until they've gone through the same path.
Yeah. Sometimes you
Like
just got to have the experience yourself.
it's a must. It's a must. Like uh, back in the day when I was like a teenager, I used to give my father hell, man.
Mhm.
I was like the worst son ever. Like I used to give him attitude. I used to just like drive him nuts. And like looking at life through his eyes right now, being the father and having to deal with all this BS we have to live through. Now I understand. Now I truly, really understand what he meant and how he reacted to everything. Even when he scolded me for things, even when he prevented me from doing something, even when I thought that he was unfair, even when I thought he was stupid. No, I was the one who was stupid. I just didn't see it. I didn't know.
Life
I
has a way
didn't.
of kicking our teeth in and offering different perspectives for
Oh my
sure.
God. It's like, it's amazing. Like when you're in that position, sometimes you're unable to see anything from the ground. Like you have to take a step up, like get on that hill, get on top of the building, on top
Mm.
of the mountain, and looking from the top gives you perspective. So taking that journey, that's the quest, that's the highest purpose, to just walk your path, do your work, and look look around and see the whole view,
Oh,
and then try to teach people like uh, who haven't gone there and haven't started the journey yet. You have tried to teach them how they can just go on their own path and go on their own journey.
in the best
And
way possible for them. Yeah.
yeah, and you can never do that unless you've walked the same path yourself. You cannot tell people how to solve their problems and how to just fix a mistake they have done unless you've done that mistake before.
Yeah. True.
Sometimes, yeah,
The
you have,
source
yeah,
of information and wisdom and experience, I think, is so important too. because you can have Uncle Jerry tell you how to become a millionaire and he's not even able to pay his bills. Or you can have a financial friend through somebody else you know
Hmm.
who you can go to, and they will give you actual steps, and they've got the proof and the knowledge and the wisdom. And hey, look, if you want to enjoy the same exact results as I am currently enjoying, let me
Hmm.
tell you what to do. And those, I think, are the people that uh, we ought to really go to for the real advice rather than,
Yeah.
source is important.
Yes, because we have to be quite honest here, man. Like there's a lot of salespeople out there. There's just salespeople.
Especially in
They're
the
trying.
personal development world.
Oh my God, it's like swarming with people who's just trying to sell you stuff.
Mhm.
That's it. They're salesmen. They're not just. They're not real teachers. And you can tell the difference if you just spend long enough time reading and sifting through all this information. You get an eye for it. You get an ear for it. You know the real deal from people who are just trying to sell you stuff.
Like if
Like
somebody's coming at one of us and trying to describe, how to escape a life of depression, and they've never actually experienced it, then they're
yeah,
going to be a less credible and reliable source for the actual thing you're trying to do.
yeah, and real people, like the people who will give you the most honest and most true advice, they will tell you that you know what, this is what worked for me. All right, this is what worked for me based on my situation, my circumstances, my education, my economical situation. This is what worked for me personally. All right, you can just pick and choose whatever works for you. This is what I've done. Okay, here's one, two, three, four. If you just here you go,
Mm.
try any of this, and if it works for you, good for you, man.
Heck
All
yeah.
right. Yeah, because there's no one way to doing anything.
No
There's
one
no
right
one
or
way.
wrong way. That is so true.
No. Yeah, it's like when you try to think of wealth, all right, the wealthiest people in the world, they're not all doing the same thing. No one is. Like you have like billionaires and millionaires doing business. You have sports figures. You have creators. You have athletes. You have a whole lot of things people can do to reach wealth. Knowledge is the same. Like it's not like people are doing the same thing and getting the knowledge from one source. No, some people get all the knowledge from being in the right situation around people who are wise, who are just knowledgeable, and just it's a lifelong apprenticeship basically,
Yeah.
and they soak in the knowledge that way. Some people like me, they're just bookworms. They just bore their way through the books and just pluck in some knowledge from here and there and try to apply it to their life and use it to see life. Some people are like uh, they go and study like specific disciplines, and this is how they gather the knowledge from their field and then all the other fields as well. So it's not just the one thing. It's never is.
Yeah.
There's no one way to health as well. Like you can just debate endlessly the it's keto diet, it's paleo diet, it's the slow carb diet. You can debate it endlessly, but what works for you is basically the thing that is custom built for you, for your own body, for your own situation. What works for you might not work for me, but there are some common stuff that can work.
Yeah, for
And
everyone.
people who give you the best knowledge will just tell you, you know what, this is what worked for me. This is my experience. I tried that. This is my situation. I tried that and it worked for me. Give it a go. If it works
Yeah.
for you, that's great. If it doesn't, try something else,
Give,
please.
give it a go is great information. That's great
Yeah.
advice. One thing
Yes.
I love that I got from all the different guests on Tom Bilyeu's show, Impact Theory, is the belief to remain open to everything and closed to nothing, but to experiment with everything. See what works for
Yeah,
you, and what
yeah,
works, keep it. And what doesn't, then don't. And we can literally try on new beliefs, perspectives, habits, and practices on and try them out for a while. Give it a month or two and see if it really works or not. Just like
yeah,
in the middle of winter, imagine being in a blizzard and you go
yeah,
into a coat store and you
mhm,
try one and you go outside and immediately you feel like you're going to freeze to death. That's a useless
yeah,
coat. I-
yeah,
and you go back in and you get a different one. This one, all right, this one works. So I'm going to keep this coat through the whole winter. It works great. That's a
yeah,
keeper. Same thing with beliefs and habits, perspectives, all these things.
mhm,
I mean, we can experiment with different beliefs. We don't have to keep believing what we were programmed as children to believe. We don't have to
yeah.
keep the same habits, keep doing the same things. All we're going to do is keep the same results, keep the exact same life. So until we start to upgrade and up level our practices and our skills and characteristics, that we're just going to experience the same personal reality forever.
I completely agree. I'm reading this book right now. It's a new book by James Altucher. I think it's called Skip the Line. I think yes, and it's called Skip the Line by James Altucher. And James is really he's trying to demystify the 10,000 hours thing about mastery. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh, he's speaking mainly on this book throughout everything. It's just the 10,000 experiments instead of the 10,000 hours. Okay, so basically
Interesting.
what he advocates is life is a series of experiments. You try something out, it works out, all right, then you keep it, like you just said. If it doesn't work out, yeah, okay, that's it. We'll try a different experiment.
And
That's how you do
recalibrate
it.
and adopt. And
Yes,
yes, that's
yes,
everything is
that's it.
information. Everything is feedback. It's data. We're like these incredible computers and
Yeah,
everything's coming at us. And it's all just data telling us, that doesn't work. It causes you suffering. This does work. It causes you wealth or abundance in all areas of
yeah,
your life. So it's like not rocket science anymore. If it doesn't work, don't do it anymore, right?
it is because it is rocket science because you course correct every
Yeah,
time you get
there you go.
some new information. Yeah, you're going to hit that boulder. You have to course correct, man. You have to switch to another situation, go to another direction, go on another vector, and that's how it works. You
That
course
exact
correct.
example comes from Psycho-Cybernetics, the book. Have you read that one?
Not yet, man. You've read
Another
more than
one.
me, it
Oh,
seems.
that's a good book. I have 10 hours a day to listen to books. I've
Yeah,
literally listened to thousands of hours now, and it's been very, very empowering and helpful.
I used to do that on my commute back to work, from home to work, and so on. And it was just like 4 hours a day. I didn't go to
Nice.
10, but it was like
Wow.
at least 4 hours a day on my commute. It was a long commute, 2 hours
Have you
to
seen that
back and
movie, The
forth.
Matrix?
Oh, of course, man. Of
Yeah, so
course.
Neo, when he's learning all that stuff all day and all the downloads are coming in, and he wakes up and he's like,
I'm just waiting for that to happen,
I
man.
know Kung Fu, right? Wouldn't that would make things a little easier for
Oh
sure.
my God. But it doesn't work like that, does it? It doesn't work like that. We're monkey brains still. We're
Yeah.
not that evolved yet.
I'll tell you what, I
And
remember 4 years ago when I first started listening to this content, I could
mhm.
listen an hour, maybe 2 hours per week. And I was mentally and emotionally drained. I was exhausted. I had no desire to listen to anything ever again. And then the next week would come and I said, no, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. And so I got up to like 4 or 5 hours a week. And now it's just like, give me more, give me more. I can't get enough. I love it.
And it gets easier, by the way, like in more than one like, you know what? It's just not that you have more stamina now to do the work that you're doing. The information that you're getting, it's easier to consume, it's easier to accumulate, it's easier to absorb now, because you're not just starting the connection from zero. No, you have this entire intricate building, this intricate design that you've created to yourself. And what you're doing now is just someone giving you like a new piece to your puzzle, and you put it into place. That's it. And it clicks. Like when you're reading something, when you're listening to something, it's a whole lot of knowledge, and this one piece you were missing, it just sticks out to you, and you plug it in and you put it in your head, and it stay there. And the more you do it, the more this is possible, and the easier it gets. Like it's basically an exponential function, man.
Mhm.
Like, it starts very slow, very slow, very slow, and compound interest. It compound interest, your knowledge and your ability to gain knowledge. It compounds. Like you can consume more from repetition.
That's
And
so
this is
true
how
with
it works.
anything too. Like
Yes,
Einstein said, the eighth wonder of the world is compounding interest. And he was
yes,
not just talking about money. He was talking about
nope,
everything. The guy was a
everything.
visionary.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes, absolutely.
so what is it
Compound
that you
interest.
want to
Amazing.
compound? That's the question after you know this, right?
Yeah, you know what? It's not just one thing. I want so much, man.
That's awesome. I like that
Yeah,
answer.
uh,
Have you ever heard
because
of the Wheel of Life, Zig Ziglar?
no, not really.
So
But I'm familiar with the concept, basically.
yeah, so like there's these 7 or 8 areas in life, like
Yeah,
personality,
yeah,
communication, spirituality, finances, and
yeah.
his theory is a, a good, usable, effective wheel will be perfectly round and balanced. And if
Hmm.
you're really good at finances, but you're lacking in spirituality, or say you're
It's going to be
in the
lopsided.
yeah, and you're gonna have a
Yeah,
blowout on the freeway, and
yeah,
people will die. It's not a good thing. You
yeah.
got to have balance. Was his basic premise, and
You got to work on your balance, but I think that you know what, like we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Like your strengths can be my weakness and vice versa. And this is why a community is the best thing, because if you have a community, then the strong will give their strong arm to the weak and pull them up, each one teach one, basically.
that's how
So
the world
yeah,
gets more beautiful. I love that.
yes, yes, precisely, because you can't actually be the strongest at everything. Yes, you can work on balance. I believe that. You must try to work on your balance, but you can't help it, man. You're going to be stronger at some aspects. Some spokes are going to be made of steel, and some are going to be made of paper mache, basically. So you have to try and just make it as round as possible, make it as balanced as possible. But when you can't, this is where you need to seek help. And this is why having community is really important. And this is why I appreciate the work you're doing. You're giving that support to people. Like when people are trying to look for a place of knowledge, to a source of knowledge, a trusted source of knowledge, then you offer that information. You don't just offer the information, you also offer the source of that information, and it's a trusted source as well. So this is like it compounds the value of the work that you do. You're just not giving just the help, you're just giving the help and the source where people can help themselves as well. And this is the best kind of help that you can offer. You just don't give a person, a hungry person, a fish to eat for the day. You give them a fish to eat for the day, and you just give them the fishing pole, and you teach them how to fish, and
Yes.
and that's the best way. Then they can reiterate and do it for someone else.
I've got to be honest and transparent. So I've been listening to a lot of Ram Dass this last year. I just discovered him right after he passed. I thought he
Mm-hmm.
was from centuries ago. Turns out he just barely passed. And so
Mm-hmm.
downloading all of his content, I come across this talk that he gave about uh, Helper's High and Helper's Prison. And I'd noticed in the past, this is being really honest. Um, so initially I had began the Good in the Head blog, which turned into the
Hmm.
website and continued to expand over the years. And
Yeah.
the whole reason I did it was because inside I was so empty and my self-image was very poor. And
Hmm.
as a grown man, it's hard to admit that, but that's the truth.
Hmm.
And I was seeking outside sources of validation. I felt worthless and valueless.
Yeah.
And so getting good comments in return for sharing this helpful work made me feel good. And I got a helper's high, like, hey, I'm a helper. Look at me.
Yes.
You know, I'm
Yes.
I'm above and you're below because I'm the helper and you're the person needing help. And Ram Dass literally, he was a analytical psychologist, especially
Hmm.
for children. But he would have patients come into his office and he would help them. And he said it got to a point where I felt like the helper and I was high and mighty and I was above them and I was winning the
Hmm.
game and they weren't. But then
Hmm.
eventually they got better and they no longer needed my help. And he says, to my shame and dismay, I actually sabotaged some of their work so that they would
Hmm.
need me again. And then I could get that value and self worth back. Right.
Hmm.
Well, years later, he expanded out into this highly evolved and spiritual, enlightened being, you know, in this human
Hmm.
form, and he didn't
Hmm.
do that anymore. He said, "Don't get caught in a helper's prison. Don't be a helper." He said, "Be
Hmm.
an agent of empowerment, where you have a source where people can go to for empowerment, so that they can then help themselves." People come to me
Yes.
sometimes and they say, "Hey, can you help me?" Nope. I can show you how to help yourself, though. You know, that's
Yeah.
different, totally different.
Yeah.
And so once I realized, you know, hey, this self-image, this feeling of emptiness I have in me, I need to fix that. And a couple of years ago, I came across some content by a lady called Brooke Castillo, and
Hmm.
she basically offered an opportunity to one of her clients in front of hundreds of people. She said, "Look, you need to start appreciating yourself and stop looking to others to appreciate you. You can validate yourself. Set an alarm on your phone right now." And she got her phone out, you know, she said, self appreciation every afternoon. What did I do
Hmm.
today that I'm proud of? Why do I appreciate myself? Why do I love
Hmm.
myself? And daily, you know, she started doing that and made a massive, huge impact in her life. And it has done the same for me. I've done it almost 2 years now, every day,
Hmm.
and I don't have a hole in me anymore. I'm full, I'm complete, I'm whole. And I
Yeah.
can now give others that same gift. I no longer feel the need to judge and criticize and condemn and put others down and spotlight their failures while I compare my, you know, strengths to their weaknesses. That's
Yeah.
no longer a thing. And God, man, that's so freeing. You know, to be able to
Yeah.
love myself, I'm now able to love others. To stop criticizing and judging me, I can now offer the
Yeah.
same gift to others. And that's new for me, man. I'll be honest. I feel like an infant. I'm just starting to learn how to be a decent human being. But that's the truth, man.
That's amazing, man. Thank you for saying all of that. It's just you're putting yourself out there, and it's just this is one of your main traits, man. You're authentic. You're all the time you're authentic, like 100%.
Had some good
And
examples.
yes, yes. When I look at you, when I hear your words, all I hear is truth, and this is really valuable to me. I think what you're referring to here is something that other people would call the inner scorecard. Like the scorecard that really matters is your own, your inner scorecard, not the outside scorecard, not the likes, not the views, not the hoorays, not the attaboys. No, none of that. What matters the most is your inner scorecard, like what you know you've done right and what you know you've done wrong, and keep doing the right things and stop doing the wrong things. Like I really like this thing that Navarro Ravikant said uh, on the Tim Ferriss show again. He was being interviewed by Tim, and he said something that really stuck to me. Like it's really I can never forget that. It says, he said that reputation is what you know about yourself. I'm paraphrasing here. It's just like what you're doing on a constant basis is you know what you've done, you know what you do, everything that you do, you know it, you cannot hide from yourself. All right, so like your honesty, like your if you've lied, if you cheated, if you whatever you've done, that's something you will always know. Okay, so the word that he said, like verbatim now, he said, self-esteem is the reputation that you have with yourself. Self-esteem is your own reputation, like your track record, like how you see your own scorecard, your own internal scorecard, how you measure up to your own standards. Okay, so looking for external validation is just our way to trick ourselves, like yeah, we're okay, this person sees me as an amazing person, so I must be, even though I don't feel like that inside, because my inner scorecard, it says a different story, man. So like what you need to really work on, to be quite honest, is to just try to silence that ego. Ego can be poisonous. It can poison your head. It can just drive you to do things that just trying to feed it. You're just trying to feed your ego, your own self of self. You're just feeding the self. You're not doing something useful to yourself or to other people. You're just trying to make yourself feel important. You're
Wow.
trying to basically fix that inner scorecard, but through just smoke screen, like it's all smoke and mirrors. So external validation is just our way of tricking ourselves. We're just trying to cheat ourselves into feeling like we're okay, but you can't really escape yourself.
That's
What you
for
really
sure.
what you really work on is your inner scorecard, what you really know about yourself, and you to be authentic with yourself, to be true to yourself. And you can never lie to yourself. If you lie to yourself, this is the start of the end, basically. This is, and it's a slippery slope. Once you start lying to yourself, and you're the easiest person to lie to, or the easiest person to cheat, like Feynman says. But it's like, this is the most important thing, like external validation, virtue signaling. That's a new disease now. Like people are trying to make all these grand shows of, yeah, I'm amazing, I'm really smart, I'm really knowledgeable, I'm really spiritual, and this is my knowledge, this is my information, this is my work. And it's just like, it's all smoke screens, man.
Hmm.
Like you know that this person is wearing a mask, and you know that what they're saying is just empty words. They don't believe it inside. People who believe what they're saying, it shows in their eyes, it shows in their words, it shows in the way they present themselves. And this is why I really, when I tell you that I hear truth in your words and I see it in your eyes, you're the real deal, man. And this is why I really appreciate your work and appreciate your friendship.
And I
So
feel the
thanks
exact
again
same way
for
about
what
you.
you're doing, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Um, in closing, I would love to ask if you've got anything that you would like to share with the audience about habits, beliefs, perspectives, any upgrade opportunities that have worked well for you, that you've experimented with and kept, that
Mm.
you would like to pass on.
Well, basically, I'll just go with the main concepts that drive me through life, basically. Number one is read. All the time, read, man. Even if you gain your knowledge and gain your values and you do everything by experience, reading is invaluable, because it just, it gives you like it's a power tool. It's like it's fuel. It's fuel for your head. It's fuel for your life. So reading is number one. Read a lot. Read as much as you can, even for 10 minutes a day. Read whatever, like even if you don't have to read nonfiction all the time. You don't have to listen to podcasts. Like when you read, when you get yourself the habit of gaining information, of learning, of hearing people's experiences and imagination poured into your head, you're actually being part of something that will one day give you advantage in life. Number two is never give up. Again and ever. Never give up. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on a loved one. Never give up on someone that you love and you know that what they're doing is wrong. And there's no such thing as it's a hopeless case. It's never true. If you just stick with it long enough, then you can make a difference. And the number one person you should be doing that for is yourself. Should be loving yourself first. So number three is to love yourself, man. Like really fall in love with the true person that you are. Like fall in love with the value in you. When you're valuable, then you'll be able to give value to other people. So you need to recognize and feed that value in yourself. And it starts with love. It all starts with love. And like right after that is just respect, man. Like have respect for yourself first, have respect for your fellow man, have respect for people who don't agree with you. Like have respect for everybody. Respect is one of the highest values in life, and it just keeps us all communicating on the same level. We see eye to eye even when we don't, because we have that base of respect to one another. And this is the platform where we stand and we make ourselves heard. And I can convince you of something, or you can convince me of something, and we can work it out. So respect is really important when you're trying to work out differences of opinion and thoughts. Right after that is just take care of yourself. Like try to take care of your health, take care of your finances, try to take care of your family. Like you have to take care of yourself and your own. Like this is really important. So if I really have to create a list, these will be like the most important things. Like there's so much more, of course, but you can't really tell people to do everything. They have to find their own way. You just can give them like the guideposts. That's it. And they can work it out for themselves. And all you can do is just offer a helping hand here and there and hope for the best.
That's awesome. Now, in order for the listeners or the viewers to go to find your work, I'm going to put links to your website in the show notes. Is and it, Instagram, Facebook, any place where
Yeah.
you would guide them to go to, in particular, where they
Yeah.
can connect with you easiest.
My blog basically is the book review online, and I'll share the links with you to share with your listeners. And I have also a Facebook page, I have Instagram page, and I'm also available on Twitter under my name at Marwan Elnakeeb.
Cool. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really love and appreciate you as a
Thanks,
human
man.
being. You're my brother from another mother, and I'm grateful that our paths have crossed. And thank you for being a guest today.
I really appreciate it, Pete. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's always great to have a conversation with you, man. It's a real pleasure. And likewise, I really appreciate your work again, and thank you so much.
Go ahead and hang on the line for just a moment. For all the viewers and listeners out there, I really appreciate you taking your time to take part in these shows by listening and supporting them. Check out Good in the Head at www.goodinthehead.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it, please subscribe and share the content with people you love that may find this useful in their lives. We can always upgrade. There's hopeless states that we are in temporarily, but I think it's really useful and important to remember not to make permanent decisions based on a temporary emotion or feeling. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.